For thousands of years, India has been more than just a place on a map. It's been a destination, a sanctuary, and, for so many people, a brand new beginning. So let's dive into this incredible history of welcome.
You know, there's this ancient Sanskrit verse that I think just perfectly captures an idea that's been woven into the very fabric of Indian culture. The whole world is family. Now, this wasn't just some poetic ideal. It became a guiding principle, and it had some profound, real-world consequences.
So that brings us to the big question for this explainer, right? How did that philosophy actually translate into action? What is it about India that allowed so many different communities, fleeing hardship or just seeking a better life, to not only survive, but to truly make a home there?
Well, to answer that, we've got to start with the stories of those who came looking for safety, people who were being persecuted for their beliefs and found freedom on Indian shores.
And this tradition, it goes back millennia. I mean, we're talking about the Bene Israel Jews who, as the story goes, washed ashore after a shipwreck almost 2,000 years ago. Then you have Syriac Christians caught between warring empires who found sanctuary in Kerala. And later, the Parsis, who fled persecution in Persia and landed in Gujarat. And believe me, these are just a few of the earliest waves.
And this wasn't just a passive, okay, you can stay. Local rulers actively supported these new communities. Just look at this painting from 1805. You have a Hindu king presenting a golden crown for the Torah, the sacred text of the Jewish people. That is so much more than just tolerance. It's an act of patronage, a sign of deep respect.
You can really see this integration in this family portrait from the late 1800s. I mean, notice how the community adopted local clothes, like the sari, while still holding on to their own distinct cultural markers. They became part of the Indian landscape without ever losing who they were.
Then we see a very similar fusion right here at a Syriac Christian wedding, an ancient Christian faith, but it's completely intertwined with local customs. This creates a tradition that's uniquely their own. They kept their core beliefs while becoming a totally inseparable part of the local society.
But you know, there is one story that captures the spirit of assimilation better than any other. It's the powerful and honestly beautiful legend of the Parsis' arrival.
Okay, so let's set the scene. A group of Zoroastrians, who we now know as Parsis, have just made this incredibly dangerous journey by sea to escape persecution back home. They land on the coast of Gujarat and they go to the local king to ask for refuge.
Now the king, Jati Rana, he was a bit hesitant. So according to the legend, he sent them a jug filled right to the brim with milk. It was a message without words, basically saying, "My kingdom is full. We have no room for you." But the Parsi leader, he didn't argue. He just took a spoonful of sugar and gently stirred it into the milk. It dissolved completely, without spilling a single drop.
The promise in that simple act was crystal clear. The Parsis were saying, "We won't displace your people, we won't disrupt your society, we will blend in, and we will enrich your culture, just like sugar sweetens milk." The king got the message, and he welcomed them.
So, what was the result of that promise? Well, today, India is home to the largest population of Zoroastrians in the entire world. That's a testament to a promise that was made and kept for over 1,000 years.
But you know, that promise to sweeten the milk wasn't just for those fleeing persecution. India's magnetic pole also drew people for totally different reasons, creating this complex and fascinating mosaic of journeys.
Just think about the different paths that brought people here. You had Arab merchants who arrived peacefully, starting in the 7th century, drawn by the spice trade. Then you have the cities, whose journey from Africa was one of forced migration as enslaved people. And then the Armenians, who came looking for commercial opportunities and became famous artisans and administrators. 3 completely different paths, all converging on India.
The story of the cities is just incredibly powerful. Theirs is a journey that started in bondage, but it's really a story of unbelievable resilience. I mean, despite their origins, some cities rose to positions of real power, even controlling parts of Bengal at one point. They forged this new, unique identity, blending African and Indian traditions. And today, their community is officially recognized as a scheduled tribe in India.
The Armenians, on the other hand, they carved out a totally different niche for themselves as master traders and artisans. They became these pillars of commerce in big cities like Kolkata and Chennai, and their skills were so valuable that they ended up holding influential positions in the courts of the Mughal emperors.
So, what does all of this add up to? It's not just a collection of cool historical stories. It's a continuous living legacy of welcome. Let's fast forward to 1893. Swami Vivekananda stands up before the First World Parliament of Religions in Chicago,
And on this global stage, he gives a powerful voice to this centuries-old Indian ethos, spelling it out for the entire world to hear.
He said, "I am proud to belong to a nation which has sheltered the persecuted and the refugees of all religions and all nations of the earth." Wow. In just one sentence, he summed up thousands of years of history, from the Jews and the Parsis to everyone else who had found a home in India.
And make no mistake, this is not just ancient history. This spirit kept going. During World War II, a Maharaja in Gujarat opened his doors to give a home to hundreds of Polish children who had been orphaned by the war. He literally created a home away from home for them, continuing that long, long tradition of sanctuary. So you can really see the threads connecting all these stories, can't you? From Persia, Africa, Europe, the Middle East, the paths of countless people have all led to the Indian subcontinent, and every single one added a new color, a new texture to its cultural tapestry.
It all leaves us with a final thought. In our modern world, which so often feels defined by borders and divisions, what lessons can we take from this extraordinary history of dissolving sugar in milk? It really makes you wonder, what can it teach us today about what it truly means to be family?